I'm pulling in another 600 amps of electricity for my Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency mining farm. I also just ran a new circuit for 125 amps. So I am essentially looking to fill over 700 amps worth of miners out here on the mining farm. My name is Drew Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I use this channel just to document my crazy crypto journey. And I've been mining for many years now, going from building GPU mining rigs in my garage to now building a full-fledged mining farm myself. It's been a wild ride, but just like always, data's king. I'm gonna run the numbers and evaluate, share with you what miners I'm going to buy next, what coins I'm going to mine next, and why. I'm gonna hone in on Bitcoin and Dogecoin mining today. Alio is this new hot altcoin to mine that maybe it'll turn out well, but when I bought a $30,000 ALF miner, that's been one of the worst buys in quite a while. And some of the other Lithium miners were actually even worse investments. Casper mining was all the rage over the last couple years, but it is becoming less and less profitable, with most of the machines that you can even buy for that coin not being all that profitable depending on your electricity rate. So I'm not hating on those coins. I mine many different cryptocurrencies. All it takes is for some of these coins to pump. They have been pulling back, right? But we're gonna be looking at basically Bitcoin and then Dogecoin as an altcoin alternative. Also, when you mine Dogecoin, you're merge mining numerous cryptocurrencies at the same time, hedging yourself a bit, but nothing serves as the same hedge as simply mining Bitcoin. 40 million essentially emission last 24 hours, and then essentially 4 million in emission for Doge, and then you're also going to be adding Litecoin mining rewards to that. We've been having a lot of fun solo mining, right? And we take just my mini miners I have on this Bitcoin mining address, and I've got about 58 terahash a second. Some of these miner reviews are still in editing, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see those specific miner reviews. But I take that 58 terahash a second. I have a 1 in 261 chance to hit a Bitcoin block over the next year. This is solo luck. We think it's really cool. We built it, very proud of it. It's supposed to be just a nice, clean Bitcoin solo mining calculator with some bonus stats in here that you may find yourself interested in. I crunch these kind of numbers all the time, but I normally don't put it into a spreadsheet and share it with you guys. So I'm going to channel my red panda mining with you and make a spreadsheet here and break it down, because it's just going to help us speedrun the presentation of this data, if you will. So these are some of the latest generation miners. The S21 Plus, the S21 Immersion, which you may have not even know about yet, the S21 XP Immersion, the BitDeer Seal Miner A2, and then the Avalon A15 XP and A1566L, or I think it's actually I, but it's a capital I, so it's immersion. I have an A1566 air-cooled. It's been a good miner, so I'm not opposed to an immersion model. So we're going to evaluate these and kind of how this breaks down and what's interesting and what's not there. We're also going to compare that with some of the latest generation script miners. And I did not include the L7 because the numbers are coming in here similarly, but I'm not buying a script miner that's that inefficient. The DG1 is already very inefficient compared to the Antminer L9 and some of the other available mining rigs. Everything we're looking at here is an ASIC miner. It's an application-specific integrated circuit miner, and we're just going to crunch the numbers on what they cost, their hash rate, how much power they consume, the cost per hash that you're getting there compared with the efficiency, our income, our profit, everything like that. But before we do that, let's take a snapshot of kind of where my mining farm's at. I have 27 Bitcoin miners online currently. So I have over 3 petahash of Bitcoin mining power. I also have another 250 terahash of second off of Luxor, and these miners are at hosting facilities that we are testing, so they're not reflected here at this time. And this is about 0.1 terahash a second lower than it should be. I flipped over a 90 terahash second miner to this earlier today, so that's not reflected here. So I basically have 3.5 petahash. I would have another 234 terahash a second of mining Bitcoin power if the S21 series wasn't such trash. My S21 Pro is not working after warranting it yet again. Most of my S21s have broken. Do not immerse your S21 series miners. They are not doing well. The only miner of that series that's holding up at all is my T21 that was modified to run on single phase electricity. So if you don't know, Luxor is a sponsor of the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I'm also mining on their pool. We also just got a super cool rebate from them. If you're using their miner firmware, LuxOS, you go in there and punch in VoskCoin, you will support the channel and get a reduced mining fee. They've got a bunch of tools on their site. They have hash rate index. They have a premium newsletter. They got a lot of stuff going on. But for example, I talked about that 125 amp circuit. I'm installing a new fog hashing C6. I didn't get it for free. Everyone thinks I get everything for free. I bought it. It gives me a more competitive mining operation. But I spent a lot of money on this endeavor. Please don't misunderstand that. Watch our video from a couple months ago where I broke down my $10,000 a month electricity bill. It's painful. I do not have a electrical sponsor. But anyway, I was using their calculator to just run some numbers, and I was like, well, what if I put the new S21 XP immersion model in there? You can only fit 4 because the tank is undersized for them. Literally, like physically. That would produce $63 a day in Bitcoin mining revenue. After my electrical expenses, I would be essentially pocketing over $32 a day, and I would then be generating over $11,000 a year. So I would make my money back in 739 days if nothing changed, which of course everything's always changing in the Bitcoin crypto world. At the time of today's video, running all these numbers, Bitcoin is trading at $97,000 per coin. Doge has pulled back a lot in the last 3 months, and it's trading at about 25 cents per coin. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is up over the last 3 months, a little bit. But mining profitability numbers, when Doge is trading at nearly 50 cents per coin versus 25, I mean, it's obviously like half. It makes a big dent. So that is one of the big issues I'm facing here, that even although I would like to expand my Dogecoin mining efforts, the miners are still very expensive.
Hey guys, it's Miss Vosk here to tell you about today's video sponsor, O1 World, which is a drive-to-earn app that provides users real-time feedback on their speed and fuel efficiency. They claim their app provides speed optimization, trip analytics, and rewards through their in-app tokens. For instance, using their calculator, it shows that driving 1,000 kilometers, or just over 600 miles per month, users can expect $23 in fuel savings, 6 in-app tokens, and a decreased CO2 output. Users can also stake their tokens. The app has a demo mode up to 230 miles, but after that it does require premium or Ultima subscription in order to keep receiving tokens, so just keep that in mind. To learn more about O1 World, check out the link in the video description below. This is not an endorsement, please do your own research.
So let's run through these, right? The Bitmain Antminer L9 is the most efficient, but the Volk Miner D1 actually gets very close in efficiency, and that's why they're sold out. I got mine under $10,000, which was very exciting. And if you took the risk, if these miners were going to be any good and even be delivered, they could have been had for $7,000 to $9,000 a piece, which is pretty interesting cost per hash, especially with the way that Doge has been at least trended, but definitely overall, I guess we could still say trending. These are sold out at a lot of manufacturers, so we took Coin Mining Central's prices on this. We're an affiliate. We have a coupon code VoskCoin, to save some coin. It means everything if you guys support the channel, use our links. I work with resellers for numerous reasons, and it's not just because we're an affiliate. When I work with these resellers, these miners are delivered to me with any duties that are owed on them paid. I'm not hit with a surprise 25% plus tariff bill. So if you see a cheaper price at, say, Bitmain's web store, which normally it's not because they only give good deals to people that are buying in very high volume these days, you'll also pay 25% on top of that. So if the deal is the same, then you are losing big time. And the warranties apply from these resellers. So it's not like you're losing out on the warranty or something like that. And it also gives me a more fair way to compare this stuff if I take one reseller and their pricing structure, and I cross compare this with a couple other options, and these are all more or less in line with the current market conditions for these miners. The Bitmain Antminer S21 Plus, this is their latest version of the S21. They will make 20 more versions because they have the worst naming structure and the most multi-models in history of eternity. It's maddening. This version does 216 terahash a second, consuming 3,564 watts. It's air-cooled, which is very important because you don't need to buy a several $1,000 immersion system to deploy it. 16.5 watts per terahash or joules per terahash of efficiency, $4,155. So your cost per hash there is $19.24 per. That would earn me about $11.55 a day in Bitcoin mining income right now. After I pay for my electricity bill, I round up to 8 cents. I would essentially earn $4.70 per day. There's a new immersion version of this, very similar figures. The one that's really piquing my interest with what I'm working on here is the S21 XP immersion. Whopping 300 terahash a second. If you don't know, that's crazy. The previous generation miners were standardized at basically 100 terahash a second, consuming around 3,000 watts. 300 terahash a second, 4,050 watts. This is where it's crazy though. 13.5 joules a terahash or watts a terahash. But coming at a premium, most cost per hash by far, $24.5 per hash. However, this is much more efficient and powerful and dense, right? $16 a day in Bitcoin, over $8 a day after that electricity bill is accounted for. New contender to the scene, BitDeer, basically a subsidiary of Bitmain. The A2 226, 3,730 watts here, basically 16.5 efficiency there, and the lowest cost per hash with this current data. So depending on your setup, if you wanted to just deploy more Bitcoin miners, these would be very interesting. And although their power consumption is pretty high, they're not really any less efficient than this current generation. The Avalon miners are lacking in efficiency in comparison with these, so are the MicroBT miners, but I really like how robust the MicroBT What's miners are. My Avalon miner has been good so far, but I really want to see more efficiency. You look at some of these numbers, I'm almost 5 units of efficiency higher with that immersion model, but that's a bit of a unique case there. And another miner I wanted to add to this is the MicroBT What's Miner M61, right? So we have the M60 that's been on our farm for a while. It's been a fantastic device. This new series of M61s, they're kind of worse because they have good hash, but they're very power hungry. We're talking 4,050 watts of power consumption, which really puts their efficiency between 19 and 20 watts per terahash. However, coming in at a lower price point of $3,469, these have the lowest cost per hash other than the S21 immersion model by about $3. So pretty substantial. If you have a very low electricity rate and you want to deploy air-cooled Bitcoin miners, right now, these are standing as a fantastic option. And I just want to reiterate again that the MicroBT What's Miner build quality in the lineup for the M60 models has been fantastic. At that efficiency, it's not for me because my electricity is on the higher side, but definitely relevant to some others. When I look at buying a Bitcoin miner right now, it's the BitDeer Seal Miner A2, if it's as good as it's supposed to be, that really positions itself as the best Bitcoin miner to buy that's air-cooled, otherwise the S21 XP immersion, if you can stomach that price point. Now let's flip it over to the Doge miners and then we'll compare this a little bit further. So we have the Antminer L9s. These are all very expensive units. I mean, you're basically paying 10 grand plus for a Dogecoin miner right now. It's a lot of money, but the income is high. If you get the Bitmain Antminer L9, 17 gigahash a second, which is 1,700 megahash a second, right? You're earning $26 a day mining Doge and the other cryptocurrencies. And after I account for my electricity bill, I'm ending up still with $19 of coin. You compare that with the AlphaPex miners, they are much less efficient. We have 0.22, 0.21, basically 0.2 efficiency. It doesn't really matter though, efficiency is efficiency. But these are so much more efficient. So even though they carry a premium, right, they're more expensive, you're actually not getting much less hash for the money. Don't really count the DG1 price. It seems that the stock on this and the performance is just, it's not good. I'm not quite sure who's buying those at this point, but the current pricing on the DG1 Plus is interesting as it has the lowest cost per hash. However, its efficiency is almost 50% worse than the Antminer L9. So while you get a bit more hash for the money, I'd rather pay a little bit more and have much better efficiency. For me, I'm limited on how much electricity do I have, how much funding do I have, right? How much gear do I want to run, and do I want to be sitting here mining Bitcoin, Dogecoin, or another coin? The Seal Miner A2 is this clear winner out of nowhere. It's kind of in that same category potentially as like the Origin miners, or however you say that. Honestly, with the fact that I am slotting air-cooled miners as well as immersion miners, I'm looking at the A2. I think I'm just gonna get one in, check it out, make sure it's as good as it's supposed to be before I get too crazy here and sink a big order. Maybe that's being too risk adverse and conservative. I don't really care. The longer you're in business and the bigger your business gets, you just become more conservative along the way, for better and worse, I guess. At least that's how I feel. But for the immersion tank, I'm really eyeballing these S21 XPs. I actually honestly think about deploying them and decommissioning some of my older gear. Like, I'm still running an underclocked Antminer T19, which out of the box I think has like 38 watts per terahash of efficiency compared to 13.5 watts per terahash of efficiency with the S21 XP. All of my Bitcoin miners were acquired before the S21 and the whole new generation of Bitcoin miners came out. If I look at how much these would earn over the next 365, right, $1,825 would be like my actual earnings, right? My actual profit after my expenses, my electricity cost on the Seal Miner A2. I look at the S21 XP immersion model, $3,000 and $15 is how much I would earn over the next year. So both of those are getting me close, especially with the little BTC pump, towards essentially a 2-year break even. Bitcoin is a big safety net. I can sleep soundly mining Bitcoin, holding Bitcoin, earning Bitcoin, loving Bitcoin, believing in Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. And the longer you're in crypto, the more you're going to like Bitcoin. Trust me. Come back to this and tell me what you think. We look at Doge, right? I'm basically spending 12 grand or more to pocket essentially 20 bucks a day, which breaks out to $7,300 over the next 365 days. That seems really exciting, and that seems like a lot, and it is. But the miners are also very expensive. For every Doge miner, I could essentially buy 3 Seal Miner A2s for the price of one L9. And now I would be making around $6,000 in Bitcoin over the next year. But I'm going to rapidly start consuming more electricity, right? The big benefit there is the density. What if you could only deploy 10, 100 mining rigs? Then something that earns more with that same footprint can be really appealing and interesting, as long as you have enough belief or interest, or you're basically down to mine that coin. There are services that let you indirectly mine Bitcoin too. You can buy a Dogecoin miner and hook it up to Unmineable, which we have a link and a code that reduces your mining fee and supports the channel if you want to use it. But I bring it up as an example that you don't have to like Doge, you don't have to believe in it, you don't even have to actually let the Doge hit your wallet. There are services that will take care of all of that for you. Not true for every coin, but true for many. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get a Seal Miner and check it out just because I simply want to. And I think I'm gonna fill up my new C6 with S21 XP immersion models, because this is something that I found in recent research and conversations. These are designed differently. They're not using thermal paste in the same style and capacity, right? The air-cooled miners are. The thermal paste suffers degradation in immersion. Generally speaking, most things work. They work well, they work for a long time, and they're fine. But some miners, in particular the S21 series, are not doing well in immersion, in my experience and for some others. So the immersion model is not only an upgrade in density, right, and performance, efficiency, and easy to deploy because you're not taking fans off, you're not putting spoofers on, you're not loading aftermarket firmware unless you want to. You're throwing it in there and it's good to go out of the box, but it's designed for immersion. Okay, so if you have a problem and you send it in for warranty, they can't try to deny it because it was an immersion fluid. Of course it was an immersion fluid. You made it an immersion model. And with the chip heatsink design, it's supposed to hold up in immersion. Will it actually? I don't know. But I'm going to find out. And you'll know here. I'll let you know. I will be, hey, it's working great, or hey, this thing fucking sucks. Oh my god. I zoomed in on the plug. I looked at the plug. These things need to be clearly labeled more obviously. The S21 immersion model and the S21 XP immersion model, due to the attached power supply, are only rated for 3-phase electricity. I have single-phase electricity on my mining farm with no 3-phase currently. Electric companies trying to scam me out of $120,000 to bring 3-phase out here, and well over a megawatt of power. But at that point, I'd rather just throw that money at solar or something and just try to get my own electricity generation going. But anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm frustrated, so it kind of throws off a lot of my calculations, plans, and to be frank, even just this video, especially if you were looking to do similar things and you also only have single-phase electricity. If you have 3-phase, then proceed as planned. I honestly, offhand, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the C6 right now then, because even the A1566 model, which doesn't have quite the efficiency that I'm looking for here, the immersion model, those are not even in stock right now. I could set it up and wait. I'm not impatient, but if I have everything ready to go from the power to the immersion tank and I just need to get the miners and plug them in, that's not really something I like to just sit around and wait for. But yeah, just understand, be advised, those specific miners, S21 immersion models, both of them from Bitmain, are only rated for 3-phase due to the attached power supply that has the same or a similar attached power supply that the T21 ships with. And we actually converted that to run on single-phase electricity. It is possible I could convert this to run on single-phase electricity and underclock it. Something I'm going to investigate. Just don't know if it's really worth doing. So with my recent air-cooled expansion, I'm going to throw a lot of different miners in there, and I want to expand my Doge mining a bit more. So I think I'm going to grab another L9, and then I'll actually have at least one shelf full of L9 miners in my new air-cooled deployment. Then I'm going to fill up this new immersion tank with Bitcoin miners. As things break or just become not profitable at all to run, where I'm burning much more than I'm earning in passive income Bitcoin mining, if you will, then I'm going to look to replace that gear with immersion models. I think it's going to save me headaches if these things are as good as they're supposed to be. And then I'm going to look at effectively lowering my electricity bill with a partial solar deployment. And then beyond that, look at building a bigger solar deployment to essentially offset this even further. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to keep grinding. This is where my head's at. But yeah, after crunching all this data, these are the miners I want and why. I'm Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. If you like this kind of content or you want to see if I, succeed or fail, hit that subscribe button. If for no other reason, then we've always got Cutie Pup here, 10 Seconds of Tails, our CTO here at VoskCoin. Yep, that's our Chief Treat Officer. You can verify that with Grok AI. Type it in. Who is Tails Vosk? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.